Hello, alumni. We are so glad that you're able to join us for this virtual service. Over the years, I've had a chance to get to know quite a few of our alumni, but to anybody that I haven't yet had a chance to meet, I want to introduce myself. My name is Matthew Jakobsons, and I am the proud principal of Sacramento Adventist Academy. My family and I moved here 8 years ago, and we are looking forward to many more years to come. SAA is an incredibly special place. And we here today are excited to share some of what has happened on our campus since our last in-person Alumni Sabbath, which was in April 2019. In a normal year, we would meet in the courtyard just outside the administration building, reconnecting with one another, sharing memories, and then transitioning to a worship service in the gymnasium. Due to a variety of factors related to COVID, we're joining you today for this virtual service from the choir room. We are hoping that you enjoy this service and that the various elements that we've included remind you of the many great experiences and the many special people that you met at SUA or SAA over the years. SAA has been, is, and will continue to be a school committed to honoring God by preparing our students for academic success and lifetimes of service. Before providing an overview of our program, I want to specifically mention our honor classes. That would be the classes of 1961, 1971, 1981, 1991, 2001, and our most recent honored class, the class of 2011. To you especially honored classes, I want to say that I'm sorry we can't meet in person. Through our connections with each of your representatives, I am very encouraged to hear about the many plans that you have to be connected and to celebrate with one another. And my hope is that that time is meaningful for your classes. To all of our alumni, we are looking forward to hosting you back on campus on April 30, 2022. So it's not too early to mark your calendars for that special date. Our program today includes a few different elements, the first of which is a campus tour. We know that every Alumni Sabbath where you have a chance to come back to campus and visit, it's made special because you can visit hallways and visit classrooms while you're also sharing memories. The second element of our program is going to be highlights of our students. Nothing better represents why this is a special place than hearing from our students. Those elements are going to be followed by a report from our assistant principal, Mrs. Rasmusson. She's going to share information with you as alumni that helps you understand just how we're operating as a school. And all of these elements are going to be followed by a brief worship thought from our longest tenured teacher, Mr. Kris Dunlap. Again, alumni, we hope that you enjoy this virtual service. We are looking forward to a return to normal. And right now, we're actually starting to host visits to campus. So if you would like to visit campus, to hear what's happening, please reach out to me today. Welcome back, alumni. I'm looking forward to taking you on a campus tour and discussing many of the exciting things that happen right here at SAA each and every day. SAA has a long and rich history. The educational journey for many begins right here. Current students, and perhaps some of you, may recall taking a picture on the first day of school right here in front of the elementary school sign. Just behind us, our program is divided into 3 distinct areas: preschool, kindergarten through 5th grade, and 6th through 8th grade. Visitors to SAA often comment on the size of our campus. Like so many schools, one of the challenges facing SAA is finding a balance between indoor and outdoor learning experiences. Across our campus, we utilize 22 recently updated classrooms every day. And those classrooms are surrounded by acres and acres of outdoor space. From SUA to SAA, our students are still experiencing the blessings of a campus that provides so many learning opportunities to them. The most recent program addition at SAA is the preschool. Our program serves students from 2 to 5 years old and is a fantastic stepping stone into kindergarten. Although we've expanded from 1 to 2 classrooms, space is always limited. In fact, we've had a waiting list at SAA for 5 years. In the 10 years that we've operated our program, what we've learned is that early childhood education is a valuable resource to our community. No campus tour would be complete without a visit to the upper elementary school playground, which is actually the physical center of campus. This space best represents the pre-K through 12 program at SAA, because if we move in any direction, we might bump into a preschool, an elementary, or a high school student. From one end, we've got the elementary playground all the way to the other end where we have the preschool playground. And just behind me, we have 2 recent additions to the high school program, the wood shop and the art classrooms. The courtyard just outside the administration building remains the heart of campus. From chapel services in the multi-purpose room to students moving through on their way to classes or hanging out at lunch or after school, all the way to the community events that happen right here or in the gazebo just behind me. All of the activity that takes place right here in the courtyard, it represents the community that we are still nurturing here at SAA. From the courtyard, we move to the gymnasium, which is a favorite place for many students. Our athletic tradition continues with 16 teams competing in a variety of sports from 5th to 12th grade. But it isn't just athletics. Students love coming to the gym to play and hang out, or for school and community events throughout the school year. The gym will remain a favorite place for many students because so many memories are created right here. We're standing outside one of 3 music classrooms, all of which are some of our most important shared spaces on campus. We are continuing SAA's rich history of music education by offering 17 different classes to our students in preschool through 12th grade. Our hope is that students take advantage of these many opportunities during their time with us. The culmination of our tour is right here in the high school. We visited quite a few locations today, which may or may not have been a part of your experience. But whether it's SUA or SAA, we know that all of our alumni were right here. We offer a broad and high-quality academic program. Our teachers provide mentoring and support services, encouraging bonds within classes. We have an engaged student body that's supported by an active student association that plans events throughout the school year, carrying on many of the traditions that you started years ago. All of this is to say, and I'm very pleased to share this, that the best parts of the SAA high school experience are alive and well today. Our students continue to make lasting memories while developing lifelong friendships. Thank you for joining us on this campus tour. We miss having you on campus because we want to share the many exciting things that are happening every day. We're looking forward to things returning to normal, so if you'd like to schedule an in-person tour, please reach out to me today.
Silva. I attended SUA at the time, SAA, starting in first grade in 1958. I graduated in 1971. My class was the largest class that has ever graduated from SAA. Our senior year, we took a week-long trip to Albion and Mendocino, which was the first time the school had ever allowed students to do a trip like that. So it was educational as well as fun, and we had a wonderful time and we loved it. I would say that the friendships that I've made which have been lifelong, and the spiritual atmosphere were the two biggest things that I came away with. It was reflected in the teachers, in the staff, and among the other students, especially during Week of Prayer week. It was awesome to see students participating in that and sharing their own walk with Jesus. I think it's the lifelong friendships that I've made and the spiritual foundation that I got from attending Sacramento Adventist Academy that led me to want to have my children have that same experience, where they would be in the same school for 13 years, that they would form very deep friendships, and that they would also have small class sizes with teachers who actually knew them and cared about them not only academically but spiritually as well.
So I'm Tom Harrington. I went to SAA from 2009 to 2012. So I think my favorite memories are working in the computer lab at the time it was Daryl Patanko. So I worked for him as a student worker for 2 or 3 years, and so I learned how to work with computers, and just talk and do a bunch of stuff with that, and then now I ended up doing his job. So kind of took what I learned there and applied it to what I do now. I think a lot, like the trips and stuff like that, between music tours and class trips, those were some of the most fun trips I've ever taken. And so it was really fun to just be out there with all my friends and playing music or just hanging out. And so those lasted for a long, I'll always remember those trips.
Awesome.
The teachers were very, you could just talk, you felt comfortable talking about anything. If I had an issue, I felt comfortable enough that I could go and talk to them about it, and it wasn't like I wasn't being judged or anything like that. It was really nice to have an adult that I could confide in. I always grew up in the Adventist church. Coming to SAA was kind of where it tossed another spark onto the fire, and so it was between the Vespers and the SA events and all of those, I really started to want to have my own relationship, deeper. And so that was kind of the spark that took it farther into college and in my adult life. I can kind of trace it back to that was where it started at SAA. The friends I made here, I'm still friends with today, and yeah, it ended up being, my high school memories ended up being some of my best memories of when I was in school.
My name is Melinda Kayebyeb, former Burroway, and I graduated in '92, but I came here since 3rd grade. My sisters went here, my brother went here through 8th grade, but my sisters and I went through, we were in 3rd, 4th, and 5th when we started, and we went, all of us went through high school. My fondest memory would be music class, whether that was elementary with Mr. Benfield and Mrs. Yaw, or with Mr. Thornton. Music tours. We had red and white polo shirts with the collar, looked like Waldo, with the white pants. Probably the biggest impact. I remember my parents always telling me, I know they sacrificed a lot to send 4 kids through here, and 3 of us were in high school at the same time, and I know it was expensive, and they always said, make sure you do this for your kids as well. And so I think that really stuck out to me, and so my kids have my daughter's graduating this year, and my son will be in high school next year, and then I have a brand new one starting in kindergarten. So we have many years ahead of us at SAA. It kept us, I know it was our own walk with the Lord, but we're all in church, we all stayed within church. We're all still connected to the same people. This next year will be my 30th reunion, and we're still in contact with a lot of our high school friends and kids I've gone to school with since 1st grade or 3rd grade. Full circle, because some of the people that we went to high school with, Corpuses or Burgers, our kids are all in school together now. So Sean and I I think we were a year apart, but now our girls are graduating together. So, it's neat. So a lot of our kids are going to school with friends that we went to school with.
Hi, I'm Izzy Berger, and I'm a senior this year.
Hi, I'm Sean Berger, and I am a former graduate of SAA, graduating in 1993. I think for myself, I know in particularly the class of 1993, we were a very close class. Many of us have maintained some of those friendships even to today. A lot of that friendship was rooted in experiences such as being a choir tour, sports trips to whether it be Paradise Academy or the PUC, and then of course the many functions at the time that would occur on campus. I think when I look back, most of what I enjoyed and kept with me were those lasting friendships. Those band and choir tours, as many can attest to over the years, that was the highlight of the school. It was not something where it was 30% of the student body. It was you went to SAA and you were part of band and choir. And so those memories, some great memories and maybe some other memories that we just laugh about, really have extended through the generations, and we really appreciate that.
I was drawn to student association. All the upperclassmen leading that were such role models, and it inspired me to want to become a part of leadership. They kind of exemplified that it was really cool to be a leader, and it was really something fun to be able to plan events and be rewarded by seeing your fellow students enjoy the event. I think the teachers, how they really form connections with students and they want you to succeed. They're not just our teachers, but they check in with us. They're our friends, and they're always there to ask us how's your day going and do you need anything.
To kind of echo what Izzy was saying, I think what's really was important at the time and has kind of stood the test of time here at the school is the connections that you can make between the students and the faculty. And so for myself, I'm dating myself, but nearly 30 years after I've graduated, it is still very unique to be able to walk into churches, whether it be in Roseville or Orangevale or Carmichael, and run into former faculty and still be able to smile and shake hands and make a connection. And so what Izzy is saying there, I think, is really a testament to the culture here at the school.
Those Friday chapels were definitely something where I was okay, this is really reassuring. We're all coming together to sing the same songs we sung at Orangevale. And so it's we're all connected by those spiritual Bible stories, the songs, and it was really something that led me into wanting to become a part of our campus ministries team at SAA.
What I appreciate about SAA and the community of the greater Sacramento area is really seed planting. And I see that in my own life and own experiences and my own friends that have grown up in SAA in the 80s and 90s. And now that my daughters are here and I have some other cousins, if you will, and other relatives that are sending their children here, that to me is what SAA is about. It's planting those seeds so that these young people, when they are off to the next chapter in life, hopefully have a foundation when they are making decisions and approaching the world. And so for me, that's really the key value. It's a blessing.
My name is Chandler Welty. I am a junior, so I'm in 11th grade. And I am currently the junior class pastor. And that's also been lots of fun. I really enjoy the class leadership positions. For me, this is where the social life and the spiritual life merges together. So stuff like chapel, week of prayer, Freshmore, those things really have a big impact on me. My spiritual life at SAA, my walk with Christ, has really been impacted by the community that I've grown to become a part of on campus ministries and SA. And both organizing some of those events and both participating in them really brings you closer to Christ and to a group of people that really love Him and want to serve Him and want to be a part of what He's got in store for all of us. I mean, really, I spend so much time there, and throughout the week, if you look at the amount of time that you spend in different places, SA is by far the place where you spend the most time. So it's almost become like a second home. You've got, to some degree, your class almost feels like extended family. Make some amazing memories, amazing relationships that that will continue on through the rest of your life.
Hello, alumni. I hope you've enjoyed our program thus far. Some of you may know me, but for those who don't, my name is Tonja Rasmusson, and I've been at SAA since 2000. I've taught English, religion, and life skills. I've served as the chaplain, and I'm currently the assistant principal. My husband is a graduate of the class of 1995, and our 2 children currently attend. Let me tell you a little bit about SAA this year. Our enrollment boasts 23 preschool students and 297 in our K-12 program. Currently, we have 46 faculty and staff members, with 8 being SAA alumni. And our staff will continue to grow as we are currently searching for another kindergarten teacher, a 6th grade and a 7th, 8th grade teacher, as well as a vice principal of finance. Our constituency is made up of 5 churches, 2 companies, and 1 organization, and we are grateful for the $368,000 which they contribute annually. This year, our school theme is Reset, Restore, Rebuild. As a faculty, we chose this theme because we knew that God could use every bit of our experience in this pandemic to create something beautiful. We felt that God was inviting us to reset our priorities, reset our focus, reset our collective walk with Him. We also knew that God wanted to restore us as a community too long separated, restore in us His image. And ultimately, God planned to rebuild in us a new reality, a new life in Him. One of the beautiful highlights of this school year has been the 5 students who have chosen to publicly accept Jesus through baptism. Along with our theme of reset, restore, rebuild, we chose to focus on Isaiah 61, proclaiming the year of the Lord's favor. We praise Him who gives us beauty for ashes and, of course, calls us to be oaks of righteousness. SAA continues to be academically strong. We live our mission statement to honor God by preparing students for academic success and a lifetime of service. Once a student starts at SAA, our retention rate far exceeds the average of private schools in the state of California. We're proud to say we retain 94% of our students from year to year. Part of this high number comes from our strong alumni legacy. 17% of current students are 2nd or 3rd generation SAA alumni. We are accredited by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges and are currently in the middle of a 6-year term. We've also developed a strong AP program where students can choose from 8 different AP classes offered across 4 discipline areas: math, science, history, and English. And this year we've been able to serve Paradise Adventist Academy by offering economics, government, and AP government online to their seniors. Our students on average score higher on both the SAT and PSAT when compared to national and state numbers. And this year we have both a National Merit Finalist and a National Merit Semifinalist in our high school. Ultimately, 92% of SAA graduates pursue a college degree. So what helps our students to be successful? Beyond the basics of education, I'd like to tell you about some of the additional things we do at Sacramento Adventist Academy to help make our students more well-rounded. First, let's talk about technology. This year, our students and teachers relied more heavily on technology than in any other year. Finishing last year in remote learning and starting this school remotely required iPads and Chromebooks to be available for our K-8 families. Most of our high school students had access to their own devices, but we were able to provide for those who did not. It's been a busy year, and at this point, all of our students have mastered Zooming, and they utilize several different learning apps. I'm proud to say that our families and teachers have become pros at online learning. What about music? Last year, 96% of preschool through 12th grade students participated in music classes. Even with the current COVID restrictions, music is still an important part of life for our students. Our music teachers were undeterred this year and have found ways for our students to participate, offering music class outside and utilizing bells, xylophones, and recorded presentations. Each week, as restrictions lift, our teachers add more music back into the program. We are all looking forward to the day when our students are able to freely sing and play music together. But until then, our teachers are ensuring that this year is not a lost one. SAA is known in our community for many positive things. One of those is, of course, athletics. Pre-pandemic, SAA had 16 different athletic teams in the 5th through 12th grade. Sadly, this, of course, came to a halt in March 2020. However, this spring, when restrictions lifted a bit, our athletes were able to play again. And so currently we have 6 high school teams able to participate. It is pure joy to see our students able to play once more, and we are eagerly anticipating a return to sports in the fall. No commentary about this year would be complete without, of course, mentioning the impact that the pandemic has had on us. I'd like to take just a moment to recap how SAA was affected and has been navigating the COVID-19 crisis. March 22 was a historical turning point in education. On Thursday evening, March 12, the decision was made to stop in-person instruction at SAA for what many thought was just a few weeks. The next day, while students stayed home, our teachers and staff created packets, plans, and procedures to switch to remote learning. On Monday, March 16, without missing a beat, families received paperwork and devices so that their children could work from home. What started out as a few weeks turned into the entire last quarter of the school year. Through the ingenuity and hard work of our teachers and staff, we were able to offer graduation services to our kindergarten, 8th, and 12th grade students. While not traditional, we were grateful to still offer some semblance of normalcy. Each of our kindergarten, 8th, and 12th grade students were able to march down an aisle and collect a diploma on their original graduation day. While our preschool was able to reopen in June 2020, we were given a limit as to how many students could attend. And once summer started, we received numerous updates from Sacramento County Public Health as we worked to determine what the first day of school could or could not look like. It was a trying summer as we lost some of our K-12 families to online-only programs. But through God's blessing of faithful churches and parents, we were able to start the school year on track, retaining enough families to be on budget and adding additional families who were grateful for our commitment to return to in-person learning. Despite the mandate in August to start remotely, we did not waver in our commitment. On October 5, 2020, we welcomed back to campus our K-6 students. And 17 days later, on the 22nd, our entire K-12 family was able to return. After 7 months of separation, the homecoming was glorious. This school year has been unlike any other. A handful of our families have opted to stay remote or to have their children come in on alternating days. This requires our teachers to both teach in person and online throughout the day. And with students needing the ability to quarantine as needed, our teachers must be ready to accommodate for a quick turnaround. And of course, on campus, we've adjusted to spending our day distanced, wearing masks, and pausing for routine hand washings. Our 3rd, 6th, and 8th grade classrooms were moved in their entirety to other areas of campus in order to space out the desks. Our teachers and staff were willing to do whatever it took to ensure our students could be back on campus where they belong. That brings us to today. Because God is faithful and we have dedicated this school to Him, we know that He will bring good from every situation, even a global pandemic. We've seen Him working in the lives of our teachers and staff, giving wisdom and fortitude for this unique call. We have witnessed His faithfulness in bringing back our students to campus in a year where so many children have been unable to return to school. and we trust that he will continue to lead Sacramento Adventist Academy in the coming years. Our enrollment for next year is growing, our resources are stable, and our community is eager to partner with us to continue the SAA legacy. We look forward with anticipation as we continue to honor God by preparing students for academic success and a lifetime of service.
Hello, SUA, SAA alumni, and the entire SUA, SAA community, past and present. It is truly an honor to be virtually with you for this special occasion. Let me start by saying thank you to everyone who has so richly blessed me during these past almost 31 years now at this amazing place. Most of all, I thank Jesus for always being with me in every situation and experience. His love for you and me is the only thing that matters. I know that many of this school's alumni are from before the year that I arrived in 1990. And I apologize because I cannot share experiences from that era, but hopefully there's something for you in this talk. As I begin, I need to pause and pray. So please pray with me. Wonderful Lord and Savior, please be with me as I share some of my experiences during my life and during these past 31 years at SAA. I know that you have been constantly present. I humbly ask for that presence now. Please allow everyone to hear you and not me. Thank you. Amen. During recent years, many of the teachers and staff at SAA have given chapel talks where they have shared pictures of themselves as they grew up and have shared some of the major experiences of their lives. It is now my turn. Please understand that I am an introverted person, so sharing about myself is not easy. I am also very uneasy about the fact that this is being recorded, but so be it. I don't want anyone to have to do math right now, so I begin by telling you that I turned the big 6-0 a few months ago. Stuart Bushnell, if you are watching, I know you have only a few months left. I was born to this amazing mom in 1960 in San Jose, California. But both of my parents grew up in the Pacific Northwest. My dad was born in Portland, Oregon, but lived in Walla Walla, Washington during his entire school life, where he attended the Adventist Elementary School and Walla Walla Valley Academy, and then Walla Walla College, where he graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering. My mom was born in Seattle, Washington, and grew up in various locations in Oregon and Washington. She also attended Walla Walla Valley Academy, but only for her senior year, and was in the same class as my dad. She did not finish with a college degree, but eventually became a hairstylist. My dad's first job after college was with General Electric. He and my mom chose San Jose as the location to begin his career. One of his jobs there was working with the design of breeder nuclear reactors. Here I am with my boxing glove, not really. Apparently I almost lost a finger because it was in the car door when my mom shut it. It was a minor miracle that the doctors were able to repair it so well. During this time, we lived in nearby Los Gatos, California, in a house that has now been removed due to the Highway 1785 freeway interchange. We lived there until I was 6 years old. Here I am with my new baby sister, who was born a little more than 2 years after me. My memories are limited of Los Gatos, San Jose, but I do remember the house and the surrounding area that we lived at. I also remember going to a San Francisco Giants baseball game when I was about 4 years old, and I do remember seeing the future Hall of Famers and legends Willie Mays and Willie McCovey. I know that my dad took me to Warriors games, but I don't really have clear memories of them. Here is a place that I remember getting to visit at times. It was a Western-themed family area called Frontier Village, which no longer exists. This is my sister again. Another thing that I remember getting to do was sometimes be able to go out on the golf courses with my dad while he was golfing, even though I was too young to play back then. When I was getting close to the age to start school, my dad felt a need to move away from the rapidly expanding South Bay area so that my sister and I could attend school in a more rural area. But to do this, it would likely involve a career change. When he was a student at Walla Walla College, being a teacher was about the last career choice of his. But God always knows what is best for us. My dad had been teaching a Sabbath school class at the San Jose Seventh-day Adventist Church, and he was actually enjoying it enough to make the decision to give teaching academy-level math and physics a try. Up until about a year ago, when my dad had some major health problems, he was still teaching a Sabbath school class at the church he now attends near Battleground, Washington. It has been one of my greatest privileges the past several years to have been able to attend his Sabbath school class whenever I have been able to visit during vacations. So my dad became a math and physics and sometimes chemistry teacher at Adventist academies for the rest of his career and never regretted it. Of course, this would become a huge influence in my life because I grew up at Adventist schools. My first grade year was at the elementary school next to the Adventist college that was then known as Canadian Union College in Alberta. My dad agreed to teach there for only 1 year. I remember learning to ice skate and playing a lot of ice hockey up there. We then moved to Milo Academy. This place is in the middle of nowhere in the mountains of southern Oregon. This is where I attended a 1-room and sometimes 2-room elementary school from 2nd grade through 7th grade. I think that I am about 10 years old in this photo. I basically had the same teacher all but 1 year during this time. The one time I had a different teacher, I think, my 6th grade year, this teacher happened to be the mom of one of my eventual SAA students, Calvin Overton, who is now a parent, which means she is also the grandmother of current students Tyler and Edith Overton. Mrs. Overton, as I knew her, had a math degree, and I clearly remember her making me better at math. We then moved to Battleground, Washington, where my dad would teach at Columbia Adventist Academy for the next 14 years. This is not to be confused with Upper Columbia Academy in Eastern Washington, as it so often is. Columbia Adventist Academy is about 25 miles north of Portland, Oregon. I attended the elementary school there for my 8th grade year. This is where I met Mr. Brad Davis, whose dad was the principal at Columbia Adventist Academy. Glenn Davis had known my dad from their Walla Walla College days and was the one to hire him to teach there. We lived across the street from the Davises for 1 year before my parents bought some property and had a house built there for us. I attended Columbia Adventist Academy for the next 4 years and graduated in 1979. This is a photo of my senior year at our junior-senior banquet. The TV show Happy Days and Fonzie was at the height of its popularity. Since everyone was dressing up in t-shirts, jeans, and leather coats, I decided to be different and dressed like Richie Cunningham. Here I am with my parents at graduation. It was this time as a student at Columbia Adventist Academy when I knew that I wanted to be a teacher, and specifically at an Adventist academy. I liked most of the classes. I loved most of the other student activities at Columbia Adventist Academy. My closest life friends were made during this time. Stan Snyder became one of my closest friends during our freshman year. He lived in the dormitory until they were shut down after our sophomore year. My parents were then gracious enough to allow Stan to live with our family during our junior and senior years so that he could continue and finish as a student at Columbia Adventist Academy. It is absolutely amazing that Brad Davis and Stan Snyder and I would eventually end up living in this area and have continued to be here for so long now. After graduating from Columbia Adventist Academy, there was no question that I would be attending Walla Walla College. Most of my best friends were also going to Walla Walla College. And I had 3 sets of aunts and uncles and a grandmother who already lived there. I was also blessed to have one of these uncles, Robert Forsyth, there, who was the vice president of a wood stove manufacturing company. I had various great jobs in that company, which paid for most of my tuition and board, leaving me with very little student loans to pay. To make this work, though, I decided I would take 5 years to complete my 4-year degree so that I had more time for work. As for my degree choice, math was always something that came naturally to me. But I also loved athletics and sports. My mom's younger brother, my Uncle Norm, was a PE teacher / athletic director who was currently working at Walla Walla Valley Academy when I started at Walla Walla College. My dad and my Uncle Norm were both teaching role models of mine. I decided that I would major in math and minor in PE, and I stuck with that decision my entire time at Walla Walla College. I am one of the very few who never changed their major, and I've never regretted that decision. This is my Walla Walla graduation photo receiving my diploma. I graduated from Walla Walla College in 1984, but spent 2 more years working for my uncle's company before getting my first teaching job near Albuquerque, New Mexico at Sandia View Academy. I went there sight unseen, having some people with an experience from there advising me not to go there. This was a small boarding school of about 70 to 90 students during the 4 years that I taught there. About half of the students lived in the dorms. God was absolutely leading me to this decision and place. I loved it, and it turned out to be a 4-year adventure that was one of the most important parts of my life. But the negative part of this was that I was a long ways away from my relatives and friends, and I rarely got to visit them during these years. I always knew that I wanted to move back to a closer location. During this time, my mom was having problems with pain in her back, and my dad felt that she might be better off living in warmer weather farther south. They ended up moving to PUC Prep. It was partially helpful, but she was also suffering from depression. My mom and dad visited me twice while I was at Sandia View Academy. The second time was in October of 1989, of what turned out to be my last school year there. My mom had suffered heavily from depression, but she seemed to have made strong improvements during the previous summer. The weekend after they visited, I had taken a group of students to an Adventist youth-to-youth conference in Oklahoma. It was an incredibly high experience spiritually. Only 1 or 2 days later, my dad called to tell me devastating news about my mom. She had lost her battle with depression. This was and is the darkest moment of my life. The devil knows exactly how to take you from one of your highest highs to your lowest low. At the memorial service, my aunt, Diane Forsyth, my dad's sister, and at the time an associate pastor at Loma Linda University Church, shared a Bible text with me that will forever be with me. For I am convinced that neither life nor death, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord. Romans 8:38-39. These are the words that I will always hold on to. My mom loved to be around people. She always wanted my friends and my sister's friends to be at our place. She was always cutting someone's hair or giving someone a perm at our house. Only God knows each heart. It is not easy. It never will be easy. The only thing I can do is trust in God's love and mercy. Brad Davis has a pillow made of blue jeans material that says Brad's Pillow on it. Some of you have seen it. My mom made that for Brad. It is special. And it is a constant reminder to me that all I can do is trust in God's love and mercy. About 4 months later, my dad called me to tell me that the principals of several California academies were at PUC, and he had heard that SAA was looking for a math teacher. I was given the information to contact him since he did not have the permission to contact me yet. I firmly believe this was not just a coincidence. God is always at work for us, which leads me to this next Bible text which happens to be my dad's favorite text. In all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. I have never been good at interviews. I have always been a failure at them. But it was an absolute miracle how comfortable I felt at that interview at SAA. There were a couple of other candidates who were most likely better candidates than myself. But I truly believe God had specific plans for me. I started teaching at SAA in 1990. I was 29 years old then. I will forever be grateful to Principal Richard Carey, the SAA School Board, and the Northern California Conference Education Director, Ken Hutchins, for taking a chance on a young teacher and giving me the opportunity to teach at SAA. I will always be grateful to Richard Carey for helping me get back on the right track after somewhat of a rough second year of teaching at SAA. The student-teacher relationships and resulting friendships that I have had with several former students is only explainable with knowledge of God's constant presence and love. I'm going to share some of the things that former students have written in my yearbooks. I need to make it clear that I am not bragging. I also need to make it clear that I have not asked students to sign my yearbooks. They have been the ones to choose to sign them. I know that there are students and former students that have very different views of me from what I will share. But I also know that all of us teachers have connected with students, different students, and have similar things written in their yearbooks. I do this only because I know that it shows how powerful the love of God is. I only do this to give everyone an illustration of how God uses all of us to share his love, and how powerful each of us are and can be in his presence. The only thing that matters is that God loves every single one of us. Okay, here's the first one. Dear Mr. Dunlap, even though it may not have shown, I did enjoy Algebra 2. I feel like I really learned a lot, even if it was the night before the test. It's been a fun year, and I hope you've liked being at our school and that we didn't torture you too much. It just means that we like you, you know. Keep teaching strong. And since I don't know too much about basketball, go Trailblazers. Veda Turk. Mr. Shiny Forehead. Just kidding. Maybe a toupee is in order. I hope next year is easier than geometry. I'm glad you are teaching it. Just to say, Portland is a good team, and next year they will go to the finals. Jason Leyland. Dunlap, the Lapster, the Lapman, Laparella. Thanks for being a San Francisco Giants fan. You actually made one of the classes fun this year. The greatest student you ever had, John Arthur. Dear Mr. Dunlap, I can't tell you how glad I am that you came to SAA to teach math. You seriously made the math department radical. I especially enjoyed how you took the time to explain the theories and whys behind the equations. I also enjoy your easygoing personality and your wonderfully neat handwriting. I tell you, you are well on your way to being an immortal teacher. Keep up the good work, Robin Kimura. Also, Clyde the Glide is one of my heroes. Kris, Mr. Dunlap. Thank you so much for having so much patience when I have had so many questions. I never thought I would ever go and do anything with my teachers, but I must say, I have really had a lot of fun golfing and playing golf. I've had a lot of fun going and playing golf. Wow, what memories. Like watching you get hit in the back with a golf ball, seeing me tee off and kill a bird. Thanks for all the good times. Your student and friend, Eric Link. I remember that day. John Salas reminds me about it all the time. John Salas, Eric Link, and Tim Delgado and I were playing golf on the little course up Highway 50 just past Folsom. And it was getting dark, and everyone had hit their tee shot on the last hole, and I walked off the tee. I did not know that Tim was teeing up again. he hit the ball, skipped it off the turf, and hit my back. It never hurt. It didn't cause any problem, but they always remember that, and I do too. He didn't mean to do that. It's been oodles of fun dogging you these past 3 years. Seriously, I hope to follow in your footsteps about math knowledge and moral standards. Enjoy the rest of your years at SAA. Your friend, Nash Carlisle. This next one is a student, is one of our international students. And so I left the broken English the way it was because it means so much to me. Dear Mr. Dunlap, hello. I have been a great time in your class and I learned much thing too. Thank you for teaching me and helping me. Have a great and fun summer. I miss your class. Young Park. Mr. Dunlap, wow, can you believe it? You're actually going to get rid of Joanna and Lisa and I from your front row. I have to tell you though, I think your classes have been the most fun of mine these past 2 or 3 years. Thanks for being such a great teacher and not getting mad when we deserve it. I think I do agree with Will, though, limits are lies. See you, Cami Bello. Mr. Dunlap, boy, did we have some good times. From memories of you driving too slow on the highway to long drives off of cart paths. We did have some great times. Thanks for the laughs. Golf is the best. Ryan Rasmusson. Yes, those guys in the van that day, we'll never forget that. Neither will I. We were at a camp out at Big Sur, California, and our activity, I was taking a group of students golfing that day. And all of a sudden I noticed in my rearview mirror there was a policeman following me. And I didn't know what the speed limit was. And so I kept it about 45, and eventually he pulled me over and said I was impeding traffic. But he didn't give me a ticket. So all turned out well. Dear Mr. Dunlap, well, this year has been such a stress and most of it is your fault. Just kidding. You are really a great teacher and I especially appreciate your dedication. Here's my tribute to you. The TCT theorem, Mr. Dunlap is the coolest teacher. And there's a given and a prove and there's several statements and some of them, a couple of them were like, you have pens that work, your handwriting is great. And these beautiful messages go on, and I have to stop somewhere. I am so sorry that I can't include them all. I will forever be grateful to the community of students and parents and teachers and church members during my time at Sandy of You Academy. It was very difficult to leave that place, but I knew that God had a place for me closer to my relatives and closest friends. This is a photo from about 17 years ago, standing in back. With me are my Aunt Diane Forsyth and my Uncle Lauren. They are my dad's younger brother and sister, but unfortunately both have passed away since then. Sitting in front is my dad with my sister and her 2 daughters, little Lauren and Alex. This photo is from 2 or 3 years ago. This is again my dad, my sister, Lauren, who is currently a sophomore at Walla Walla College, and Alex, who just got married last summer. She is holding Sterling, which is Lauren's pet dog. The relationships built at this school and its community are so special. Golfing with Ryan Rasmusson and John Salas and Eric Link and Ansel Oliver and Casey Hain and Stuart Bushnell and Jamison Collins and Max Pena, and the list goes on and on and on. Coaching all of those girls' basketball teams and being champions twice at the PUC tournaments. Missy Davis, Demi Nemia, Julie Ford, Kay Tangonen, Chanel Wilson, Sarah Freitas, Dara White, Emily Oliver, Helen Lee, Sarah Innocent, Jessie Jewett, Renee Wilder, Katie Case, Jillian Maniscalco, Alice Chun, Janelle Uxane, Macy Saddlemeyer, Autumn Silvestri, Tracy Dew, and Evelyn Mendoza, and all of the others on all of the teams that I ever coached. Being a student association for the past 29 years, there are too many of you student leaders to list. Being a teacher at this school with everyone, this includes all of the coaches also. that I have had the privilege of working with, especially those who have been former students. Playing that silly fantasy football game with Aaron Reneker, Eric Tua, Derek Brizendine, Brennan Puya, Logan Adams, Jeremy Brizendine, Carol Reneker, Jeff Rogers, Ryan Brizendine, Matt Reneker, Ryan Rasmusson, Ryan Voss, Brian Wong, Jake Calkins, Johnny Kaler, Bryce Beeman, Daniel Fox, Ethan Wickham, Matt Cantrell, Matthew Jakobsons, Pastor Benji, and Zach Mason, and also a league with current students at this school. What a great way to stay connected for many, many years after graduation. I am forever grateful to God and to everyone who has allowed me to serve this amazing school and community for the past 31 years. It has been humbling and overwhelming how God has worked in my life. And I plan to keep serving SAA as long as God has a place for me here. May each one of us continue to build relationships with others in all of our communities, which allows us to show others just how deeply God loves and cares for each and every one of us. Thank you.
Again, thank you for joining us, alumni. We hope that you've enjoyed this quick look at your school. As you've seen, we have a great deal to be thankful for and a great deal to be proud of. There's also much that we have planned for the future that we don't have time to discuss now. But in the coming months, we'll begin work to completely update our fire alarm system, which will also involve significant upgrades to our network. In addition, we're looking forward to the groundbreaking on a senior living community on the eastern portion of our property. Over the last year, we've made tremendous strides to move this project forward, receiving approval from 3 different committees. We're excited about both of those projects for the many ways that they're going to help us improve our service to our students and families. And in the coming months, we plan to produce more content and share that with you. I'll close our service by saying that we miss you. We are already planning for April 30, 2022. Don't forget to mark your calendars. And we are incredibly thankful for your ongoing support. Please continue to pray for our students, our families, and our staff as we continue the important work that we do at Sacramento Adventist Academy. Blessings.